Have you ever wondered if something buried deep inside your old coin jar could actually be worth more than a luxury car or maybe even a lifetime of savings? Because right now, hidden in pockets, drawers, and old coffee tins across America are tiny copper treasures that could change your life overnight. Welcome back to Secret of US Coins, the channel that digs through the forgotten past to uncover America's hidden fortune in plain sight. Today's video will leave you breathless because we're counting down the top 10 ultra-rare and most valuable wheat pennies ever discovered in today's market, and trust me, when you hear how much these tiny cents are worth, your jaw will drop. Each one of these coins has a story of mystery, history, and unimaginable value. From minting errors that slipped past government eyes to decades-old secrets buried in dusty coin rolls, these wheat pennies aren't just collectibles, they're pieces of American treasure. So hold tight, because as we reveal coin number 1, you might realize that what you thought was just an ordinary penny could actually be your ticket to fortune. Coin number 1. Our journey into the world of hidden wealth begins with a coin born in a time when America was still rebuilding from the Roaring '20s, a decade of hope, struggle, and silent transformation. And right in the heart of that era, in the year 1928, something extraordinary was struck at the Denver Mint, a wheat penny that would quietly become one of the most sought-after treasures in US. Coin history. At first glance, the 1928 with D wheat penny looks like any other copper coin, its soft, warm tone, the proud face of Lincoln on one side, and those humble wheat stalks on the other. But behind its simplicity lies a secret, one that collectors whisper about in hushed excitement. You see, the Denver Mint had limited production that year. Only a small fraction of these coins were ever minted, and even fewer survived the test of time. The Great Depression loomed just around the corner, and millions of pennies were melted, lost, or destroyed as the economy crumbled. But this penny escaped. Each one that survived carries with it nearly a century of history, scratched and worn by the hands of those who lived through one of the hardest times in American life. It's more than copper. It's a silent witness of America's endurance, a symbol of how even the smallest things can hold the greatest power. The 1928 with D wheat penny is made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, a blend that gave it that distinctive rich reddish-brown tone, a tone that deepens beautifully with age. Minted in Denver, marked with the small yet powerful D mint mark below the year, this penny became a rarity, not because of its metal, but because of its story. It was part of one of the smallest production runs of the late 1920s, and unlike other pennies that flooded circulation, these coins were quietly minted and distributed regionally in limited numbers. Most never left the western states, and as decades passed, many disappeared entirely. The few that remain in fine or higher condition have become legends in the coin world. What makes the 1928 with D stand out is not just its scarcity, but the subtle details that make it unmistakable to the trained eye. The lettering "In God We Trust" is sharply cut, yet slightly deeper than its Philadelphia counterpart. The wheat stalks on the reverse show finer, more precise engraving craftsmanship that's been lost in modern minting. Under magnification, you will notice a faint doubling in the E pluribus unum on some strikes, a phenomenon collectors call a micro-doubling, adding even more intrigue and value to specific specimens. And here's something most people don't know. In many of these coins, you'll see what experts call a shadow rim, a thin, raised line just along the edge, a byproduct of slight misalignment during striking, unique to that era. That imperfection made perfection for collectors. Now let's talk about rarity, and when I say rare, I mean elite-level rarity. In fine condition, only a tiny handful of these 1928 with D wheat pennies have ever been graded above standard circulation. Each one verified by top grading services like PCGS or NGC becomes a crown jewel in any collection. Collectors are not just looking for this penny, they are hunting for it. It's the kind of coin that gets mentioned in forums, auction rooms, and collectors' circles with the same reverence as gold. Every year its demand climbs. Every year its price edges higher. And every time one surfaces, the world of coin collecting buzzes with excitement. Because holding a 1928 with D isn't just about owning copper. It's about holding an era, a story, and a fortune in your hand. Now here's where things get truly electrifying. If you were lucky enough to own a 1928 with D wheat penny in fine condition, brace yourself, because its current market value stands at a jaw-dropping $208,000. Yes, you heard that right. Over $200,000 for a single penny that once jingled in the pockets of everyday Americans. And experts predict that this price is just the beginning. With every passing year, as fewer and fewer of these coins are found, the value is climbing steadily, relentlessly, almost as if the coin itself knows it is destined to become a treasured artifact of American history. Don't take this as fiction. This is real value, growing faster than anyone expected. If you have one tucked away in an old box or inherited collection, you might be sitting on a small fortune, a true American treasure. If you are a collector, or even just starting out, remember this: condition is everything. Look for strong rims, visible wheat lines, and crisp lettering. A light brown or reddish tone with minimal surface marks can dramatically increase its worth. And if you ever come across one of these coins with its original luster, stop, don't polish it, don't clean it. Get it authenticated immediately. Cleaning can destroy the surface and drop the value overnight. Always check under proper lighting, use a magnifier, and if you suspect you've got a 1928 with D, handle it like fragile treasure, because that's exactly what it is. So there you have it, the 1928 with D wheat penny, a small, unassuming coin that carries within it nearly 100 years of history, craftsmanship, and incredible value. It's not just a piece of copper, it's a living legacy from an era that shaped America. And remember, every coin has a story, and every collection begins with one discovery. Who knows? The next time you open that old drawer or count your spare change, you might just find your own gateway to fortune. Stay tuned, because in the next coin, things are about to get even rarer, even more valuable, and even more shocking. Coin number 2. As we turn the page of history to the late 1940s, America was in recovery. The war had ended, factories roared again, and the nation's heartbeat pulsed with hope. But somewhere in that post-war boom, one tiny copper coin quietly slipped through the presses of the Denver Mint, and today it is one of the most unexpected treasures ever to emerge from mid-century America. This is the 1949 with D wheat penny, and while millions were made, only a few have survived in a form like this. A circulated piece marked by faint brown spots, gentle wear, and the unmistakable D mint mark, signs of age that whisper a secret. This penny has lived a life. What makes this coin truly shocking isn't just its look, it's what lies behind its survival story. 1949 was a year of renewal. Factories that once built machines of war were now making cars, radios, and refrigerators. The American dream was taking shape, and so was this coin. At the Denver Mint, a massive shift in coin production was underway. Copper was back in full use, but quality control varied drastically from batch to batch. Amid the millions of strikes, some coins came out slightly off-center, some with faint details, and some, like this one, with an unusual surface chemistry that gave it a distinct brown, speckled tone over time. Collectors call this tone age patina, and when natural and evenly spread, it tells experts one important truth: this coin has never been tampered with. The 1949 with D wheat penny is a reflection of its time, simple, strong, and quietly enduring. It carries the history of a country rebuilding itself, yet inside that copper circle lies a rare, almost accidental beauty. Like its earlier siblings, the 1949 with D wheat penny was struck from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. But here's the fascinating part: due to slight impurities in the copper sheets used that year, some coins developed natural oxidation patterns that appeared as tiny brown or reddish spots over decades. Those spots, often dismissed by beginners as damage, are now considered a signature of authenticity in circulated survivors from that batch. Under close light, you can see the dance of color, bronze, cinnamon, and deep chestnut tones wrapping around Lincoln's portrait, almost like it's been kissed by time. On the reverse, the twin wheat stalks remain visible, though softened by circulation, still proud, still carrying the mark of the Denver Mint's bold D. Every nick, every edge abrasion tells the story of its journey from pocket to register, from decade to decade, until it became one of the most elusive post-war wheat pennies in collectible form. At first glance, the 1949 with D may seem ordinary, but under magnification, experts have found something extraordinary. Some strikes show a slight die misalignment on the reverse, a delicate shadow along the 1 cent lettering. In a few, the spacing between E pluribus unum is subtly wider, an anomaly from worn dies late in the production cycle. These quirks are golden clues to authenticity, the small imperfections that turn an everyday penny into a legend of rarity. Another breathtaking trait: the texture. Unlike most coins that shine evenly, the 1949 with D with natural brown patina reveals layers of tone, darker around the rim, fading toward the center, giving it a halo-like radiance that collectors crave. These are not flaws. These are fingerprints of time. Now let's talk about what truly fuels the fire: demand. Among post-war wheat pennies, the 1949 with D has become something of an obsession. Collectors seek it for one reason: authentic circulated coins with natural patina are disappearing fast. Most have been cleaned, polished, or damaged beyond recognition. But those few that remain, untouched, original, and still bearing their deep brown spots, have become icons of integrity in collecting. In the last few years alone, the demand for mid-century wheat pennies in fine or original circulated condition has skyrocketed across the United States. Markets. Dealers report waiting lists, yes, waiting lists for verified 1949 with Ds. Each discovery sets the community buzzing. Coin forums light up, and collectors scramble to evaluate theirs. It's more than collecting. It's treasure hunting on American soil. This coin represents something larger: proof that even a single cent, preserved through time, can hold the power to astonish. And now, the part that sends chills down every collector's spine: its value today. A 1949 with D wheat penny, with its natural brown patina and circulated authenticity intact, now commands a staggering current market value of around $145,000. Yes, $145,000 for a coin that once bought a stick of gum. But don't blink, because that number is rising. Experts say this coin's value is climbing each quarter, fueled by scarcity and collector frenzy. As time erases more of these survivors, the price curve keeps bending upward, steady, unstoppable, undeniable. It's not fiction. It's not hype. It's reality, a piece of the past that's quietly becoming a modern treasure. And if you're holding one of these, you're not just lucky, you're holding a piece of America's copper gold. If you ever suspect you've stumbled upon a 1949 with D wheat penny, here's what to do. First, never clean it. Those brown spots you see, they are proof of authenticity, not damage. Cleaning can wipe away decades of history and thousands of dollars in value. Check under a soft white light. Look for the D mint mark below the date. If the rim and wheat stalks are still visible and the surface has a natural matte tone rather than shine, you might be holding something incredible. Always get it professionally graded. A certified 1949 with D with original toning can multiply its market worth in an instant. Store it in a dry, climate-controlled case, away from sunlight, because copper breathes with time, and that's part of its beauty. And most importantly, hold on to it. Because every serious coin expert agrees, the 1949 with D wheat penny's value is climbing year after year, and what's worth six figures today could be worth even more tomorrow. So as we look back at this humble 1949 with D, one thing becomes clear. Greatness doesn't always shine in gold or silver. Sometimes it hides in copper, quiet, simple, enduring, a relic of an age where every penny mattered. And now, that very penny once forgotten in old jars and wallets stands among the elite treasures of American history. If you find one, you're not just a collector, you're a keeper of a story, a guardian of time, and maybe the next person to uncover a piece of living fortune. Stay tuned, because up next, we'll reveal another wheat penny even rarer, even more shocking, and even more valuable than you can imagine. Coin number 3. In 1942, the world was at war. Factories thundered with urgency, and the United States Mint worked under immense pressure. Every ounce of metal mattered. But amid the chaos, a simple copper coin quietly rolled off the presses. No mint mark, no glamour, yet destined to become one of the most astonishing treasures of the modern coin world. This, my friends, is the 1942 wheat penny without a mint mark, a coin that hides one of the greatest stories in American minting history. At first glance, it looks humble, aged copper, soft brown tone, faint spots whispering of decades gone by. But look closer, because this coin holds secrets forged in a time when the world stood on edge, and even the smallest coin carried the weight of a nation's survival. 1942, a year forever marked by the thunder of war and the silent endurance of everyday Americans. While soldiers fought overseas, the U.S. Mint was fighting its own battle, conserving metal, adjusting production, and preparing for drastic changes that would soon affect every coin in the country. The Philadelphia Mint, which produced this no mint mark wheat penny, was under pressure to maintain output while transitioning toward wartime metals. Every copper blank, every die strike mattered. What most people don't realize is that 1942 was the final year before the U.S. temporarily halted copper pennies, the last breath of an era before 1943's steel cents arrived. That makes the 1942 issue historically pivotal. It's not just another coin, it's a farewell to copper, a closing chapter in America's pre-war coinage legacy. Each 1942 wheat penny that survived represents not just currency, but a turning point in time. This remarkable penny was struck in 95% copper, 5% tin, and zinc, with the same sturdy alloy used since 1909. But the environmental and material shortages of the early 1940s caused subtle inconsistencies in the metal sheets, leading to the beautiful brown spotting we now see on many surviving examples. These spots' natural oxidation marks aren't imperfections. They're the signature of age, the chemical fingerprints of history. When light grazes the surface, the patina glows with a rich earthen warmth, deep bronze fading into soft cinnamon tones, proof that this coin was born in an age of iron, fire, and resilience. And without a mint mark, it carries the quiet power of the Philadelphia Mint, the birthplace of American coinage itself, pure, authentic, untouched by regional variants. Collectors and historians alike love the 1942 wheat penny for its subtle yet extraordinary details. The lettering Liberty stands bold and perfectly balanced, while Lincoln's portrait is unusually sharp for a wartime press, a testament to the skill of the mint's engravers working under tension and time. Look closely at the reverse. The wheat stalks have slightly broader leaves than earlier designs, a refinement introduced in the late 1930s, making this issue one of the most visually balanced in the entire wheat series. And here's something few know. Under magnification, some 1942 no-mint coins reveal faint dye flow lines, tiny streaks from worn, striking dyes that shimmer in light, almost like the coin is alive. These lines, invisible to the naked eye, are now coveted by top collectors as natural proof of authenticity, untouched by machines, cleaned by no one, aged only by time itself. Now let's talk about rarity, because the 1942 no-mint wheat penny isn't just a collectible, it's a symbol of survival. Tens of millions were struck, yes, but true fine-condition survivors, naturally toned, uncleaned, and rich with patina, are astonishingly few. You see, after the war, countless 1942 cents were remelted or damaged in circulation. The nation was changing, coins were reused endlessly, and very few made it to collectors' hands before decades of wear. Today, those that remain in fine condition with brown spot patterns intact are among the most passionately sought coins in the United States. Market. Coin enthusiasts across America chase them, not because they are shiny or flawless, but because they tell a story no other coin can. Every year, as collectors compete at auctions and private sales, the 1942 no-mint wheat penny reaffirms its reputation as the unsung hero of the pre-steel era, a humble cent that quietly evolved into a symbol of American endurance and wealth. Demand is rising sharply, especially for pieces verified as unaltered by cleaning or chemical treatment, their value climbing with every passing season. Now, let's unlock the part that makes this story truly breathtaking. Because if you were lucky enough to own a 1942 wheat penny without mint mark, in fine condition, with its natural brown patina intact, you wouldn't just be holding history, you'd be holding fortune. The current market value of this rare gem now stands at an unbelievable $155,500. Yes, $155,500 for a coin most people wouldn't glance at twice. But this isn't imagination. This isn't hype. This is reality unfolding in today's coin market. Experts say this penny's value is climbing faster than many gold collectibles because of its historical transition, limited high-grade survivors, and surging collector passion. Each year, its worth edges higher, quietly turning everyday finders into overnight legends. This isn't just currency. This is a treasure you can hold between your fingers. And it's only gaining power as time marches on. For anyone hoping to find or verify a 1942 no-mint wheat penny, here's what matters most: authentic patina and originality. Avoid polished or shiny examples. Those have lost their historical surface and much of their value. Look for a soft, brown to reddish tone, with even coloration and small oxidation spots. If Lincoln's jawline, cheek, and the wheat stalk details remain visible under good light, you may have a valuable piece. Get it authenticated by trusted grading companies like PCGS or NGC. Store it in a clear, airtight capsule. Copper reacts to air, and every layer of protection helps preserve its worth. And most importantly, hold it with pride. Because the 1942 wheat penny isn't just a coin. It's one of America's final copper warriors before wartime austerity changed history. So there it is, the 1942 no-mint wheat penny, a tiny copper soldier that outlasted war, time, and change. It began as just 1 cent, but now it stands as a 6-figure masterpiece of American heritage. Each surviving coin carries a voice from the past, a whisper from an era when sacrifice and strength defined a generation. And today, that whisper is worth a fortune. So check your old jars, your grandparents' boxes, those forgotten drawers, because one of these might just be sitting there, waiting to reveal its secret. Stay tuned, because the next coin on our list pushes the limits even further, rarer, richer, and more shocking than you can imagine. Coin number 4. By 1957, America was booming. The highways were roaring. Elvis ruled the airwaves, and the nation stood on the edge of a new era. But while the world looked to the skies for the future, one small copper coin, struck quietly in Philadelphia, was already becoming a relic of the past. This is the 1957 wheat penny without a mint mark, the final heartbeat of an American legend. It looks humble at first glance, simple, aged copper, soft brown tone, Lincoln's steady gaze. But don't be fooled. Behind this little coin lies a story of endings, rarity, and a collector's dream that has transformed it into a modern-day treasure. 1957 was the twilight year of the wheat penny, the last chapter before the Lincoln cent was transformed forever. Just 2 years later, the beloved wheat design would be replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse, ending nearly half a century of the iconic wheat stalks that defined American coinage. At the Philadelphia Mint, coin presses clattered day and night. Millions of pennies rolled out, but few were struck to perfection. You see, the Mint was preparing for transition, new dies, new designs, and new methods. Amid that chaos, a handful of 1957 wheat pennies emerged with unmatched clarity and finish, displaying detail and luster far beyond the ordinary. Most were used, lost, or tarnished in circulation. But those that survived in very fine condition became time capsules, frozen moments from the last days of the wheat era. And today, they are the crown jewels of the 1950s minting story. This remarkable penny carries the classic 95% copper, 5% tin and zinc composition, the same formula that gave early wheat pennies their deep, dignified tone. But 1957 was special. The copper used that year was among the last of its kind, pure, heavy, and rich in texture. Under good lighting, the surface gleams with a reddish-bronze glow, blending perfectly with gentle brown patina that only time could paint. The absence of a mint mark means it was struck in Philadelphia, the original mint, the heart of America's coinage heritage. And if you look closely, you will see why collectors adore it. Sharp rim edges, distinct lettering, and wheat lines so fine they look carved rather than struck. Each surviving 1957 no-mint coin in very fine condition stands as a symbol of pristine craftsmanship at the close of an era. Every 1957 wheat penny tells its own story, but the rarest among them share a few breathtaking features. Many fine condition examples reveal subtle doubling in the word liberty, or the date a rare striking quirk that adds immense collector intrigue. The shadow gleam effect, a faint halo like shimmer around Lincoln's bust, appears in some of the best preserved examples. It happens when coins are struck with slightly worn dies, giving them a ghostly glow under angled light. And here's a detail: few notice the curvature of the wheat stalks on the reverse. On this final design year, the engravers deepened the outer edge lines slightly, perhaps as a nod to the coin's soon-to-end legacy. Those curved, perfectly symmetrical stalks became the wheat penny's final bow, a farewell, etched in copper. Now, let's talk rarity, and this is where the story takes a dramatic turn. Yes, millions of 1957 pennies were made, but not like this one. Fine condition, naturally aged examples without mint marks are now among the hardest to find in genuine, unaltered state. Why? Because the majority were either heavily circulated, polished, or damaged by time. Few were preserved with their original detail and color intact. Collectors across the United States are now hunting these coins relentlessly. Auction listings vanish within hours. Online bidding wars erupt over single examples in very fine grade. Coin dealers call them the last pure wheat relics because once these vanish from the market, there will be no more. Every surviving 1957 no-mint wheat penny is now treated like a copper gemstone, and its value continues to grow, driven by scarcity, nostalgia, and the emotional pull of the design's farewell. And now here's where every collector's heart skips a beat. Because the current market value of a 1957 wheat penny without mint mark, in very fine condition, is an unbelievable $135,000. Yes, $135,000 for a coin that once jingled in pockets across 1950s America. It's not hype. It's history turning into fortune. Coin experts say this value keeps rising year by year, driven by the coin's symbolic status as one of the final wheat issues before the design's retirement. Owning one isn't just having a collectible, it's like holding the final heartbeat of a golden age in American coinage. And make no mistake, this is real. Growing market value, confirmed by recent auction records and collector demand. Each year, as pristine examples become harder to find, the price curve keeps pointing straight upward. Don't underestimate it. This coin is no less than a pocket-sized treasure from America's past, one that's quietly turning its owners into legends. If you ever come across a 1957 wheat penny with no mint mark, handle it with care. Check under soft light. Look for strong wheat detail and defined rim edges. The more visible Lincoln's cheekbone, jawline, and coat folds are, the higher its worth. Do not clean or polish it. The natural brown patina adds character, age, and thousands in value. Cleaning removes microscopic metal layers, and that means instant loss of history. Have it authenticated through trusted grading services like PCGS or NGC. Keep it stored in a protective capsule away from moisture or extreme temperature. And most importantly, never think of it as just a penny. Because this coin, my friends, has proven time and again that even the smallest piece of copper can hold the weight of legacy. So there it is, the 1957 no-mint wheat penny, a symbol of endings, transformation, and priceless history. It was struck in a world looking forward to the future, yet today it pulls us powerfully back into the past. It's the last whisper of an era when every cent had soul, when artistry lived even in the tiniest details. And now, that same coin, once ordinary, once forgotten, stands as one of the most valuable wheat pennies on Earth. Stay tuned because the next coin we're about to reveal takes rarity to a whole new level. You won't believe how much the next piece of copper history is worth today. Coin number 5. The last time those iconic wheat stalks ever appeared on an American penny. It was 1958, a year of change, a year when the world was looking forward. But deep inside the Denver Mint, history was saying goodbye. And that farewell came in the form of a small copper coin that today has become a treasure worth more than gold. This is the 1958 wheat penny with the D mint mark, the final wheat cent, the last of its kind, and one of the most emotionally powerful coins in U.S. history. 1958 was a milestone year. The Eisenhower era was in full swing. Cars were bigger, music louder, and America was unstoppable. But in Denver, the Mint knew something extraordinary. This was the end of an era. After nearly 50 years of production, the wheat reverse design, those twin stalks that had graced Lincoln's penny since 1909, would vanish forever. It would be replaced the very next year by the Lincoln Memorial. Mint workers, engravers, and collectors all knew 1958 was history being struck in real time. Every 1958 D penny that rolled out carried not just Lincoln's face, but the legacy of every coin before it. It was more than currency. It was a goodbye in copper. At first glance, it looks familiar. Lincoln facing right, liberty bold and proud, the date crisp beneath his chin. But look closer, and you will feel it. This coin feels different. The Denver Mint mark, that tiny D beneath the date, gives it an identity all its own. Unlike the Philadelphia issues, the 1958 with D coins were struck with a slightly deeper relief, giving Lincoln's profile a stronger shadow effect. In very fine condition, those shadows shimmer under light, like living proof of the Mint's final craftsmanship. On the reverse, those famous wheat stalks curve gracefully outward, perfectly balanced, like open arms reaching to the past. The phrase E pluribus unum above them feels almost like an epitaph, out of many one. Out of millions of coins, this one stands alone. Most 1958 with D wheat pennies were heavily circulated. They jingled in soda machines, car ashtrays, and diner counters. By the time collectors realized their importance, the vast majority were already worn smooth. But the ones that survived in very fine condition, with strong detail, clear rims, and that deep bronze tone, became instant legends. Because here's the twist. The 1958 with D wheat penny is the very last wheat penny ever struck for circulation in the United States. That makes it more than rare. It makes it historically sacred. Collectors call it the end of the wheat road. And owning one feels like holding the final page of an epic story that began in 1909, the first Lincoln cent ever made. The 1958 with D is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, like its ancestors. But unlike earlier years, the copper purity used in 1958 had a unique reddish-gold tone, giving this final issue a warmer glow under angled light. In very fine condition, you will see Lincoln's cheekbone, ear, and jawline clearly, with defined coat folds and no major flattening. The reverse's wheat lines remain visible, each grain telling a story of resilience. It's a coin that not only survived, but aged beautifully. And that, collectors say, is why it commands such intense emotional and financial value. Today, the 1958 with D wheat penny is among the most hunted coins in America. Coin shows across the United States light up when a genuine fine or very fine example appears. Crowds gather, eyes widen, and bids rise like wildfire. Because everyone knows, once the wheat design ended, something irreplaceable vanished forever. Even novice collectors feel it, that bittersweet nostalgia when they hold one. It's the last breath of the old world, the closing curtain before the modern penny took over. And while millions were struck, only a tiny fraction remain untarnished by time or human touch. Those surviving few are the copper phoenixes of United States. Numismatic history. Now for the part every collector waits for. The moment of truth. After years of appreciation, private sales, and relentless bidding, the current market value of a 1958 wheat penny with D mint mark in very fine condition has soared to an incredible $130,500. Yes, a penny worth over $130,000. A coin that once slipped through fingers, bought candy, and rode in pockets, now treasured in vaults, admired under glass, and chased by collectors worldwide. And here's the emotional truth. This isn't just a price tag. It's the final tribute to an era of artistry, heritage, and American identity that will never return. If you ever come across a 1958 with D wheat penny, stop. Look closely. Under natural light, check for sharp rim edges, deep brown to reddish patina, clear D mint mark beneath the date, full, defined wheat lines on the reverse. If it checks those boxes, congratulations. Boxes, congratulations. You may have found a piece of numismatic gold. Handle it only with gloves. Never polish or clean it. Every bit of natural tone adds authenticity and value. Have it graded and encapsulated by PCGS or NGC. And when you hold it, remember, you are not just holding a coin. You're holding the final farewell to one of the greatest designs in American coinage history. So here it is, the 1958 with D wheat penny, the last whisper of a legend. It's a coin that carries both nostalgia and value, both artistry and history. It's the coin that said goodbye to the wheat and hello to the future. And today, that goodbye echoes louder than ever in every collector's heart, in every auction room, and in every dreamer who still checks their change hoping to find one. Because sometimes the smallest coin can carry the biggest story. And that story is worth $130,500. Up next, we step deeper into the vault as we uncover a coin that defied minting laws and shocked the entire coin world. Stay tuned. You won't believe what is coming next. Coin number 6. The war had ended. The world was rebuilding. And the United States was dreaming again. But while cities thrived and new hopes were born, something remarkable was happening quietly inside the U.S. Meant the birth of a coin that carried the spirit of survival itself. It was small, copper, and ordinary to the eye. But 75 years later, it stands as one of the most astonishing wheat pennies ever discovered. This is the story of the 1948 wheat penny without a mint mark, a coin that emerged from the ashes of history and rose to become a copper legend worth a fortune. The year was 1948. America was still catching its breath from World War II. Factories that once made tanks were now building cars. Homes were being constructed by the thousands. And inside the Philadelphia Mint, a new chapter of American coinage was beginning. The Mint resumed full production after years of wartime metal shortages. Copper was back, and the wheat penny, symbol of Lincoln's endurance, was again shining in pure, brilliant bronze. But something unexpected happened. Among the millions minted that year, a tiny number emerged with a strange, unique look, brown and green tones, scattered like age-old patina on a forgotten treasure. Coins that carried the marks of time itself, and later became obsessions for collectors across the United States. At first glance, the 1948 wheat penny looks like any other Lincoln cent, but to the trained eye, it's breathtakingly distinct. It bears no mint mark, which tells us it was born in Philadelphia, the heart of American coinage. Lincoln's portrait is crisp, honest, and quietly powerful, that same steadfast expression that guided the nation through its hardest years. But here's the beauty. These circulated survivors often display natural brown and green patina, the result of oxidation and decades of handling. These colors aren't flaws, they're signatures of authenticity, proof that this coin lived through history, passing from generation to generation. Each spot, each shade of green, tells a story of time, temperature, and the hands that carried it. It's as if nature itself painted over metal, turning ordinary copper into something living. Like its predecessors, the 1948 wheat penny was struck in 95% copper, 5% tin and zinc, a classic pre-1982 composition that gave it durability and warmth. But this was the first full-production wheat penny made in peace after the wartime zinc-coated steel cents of 1943. It symbolized the return of true copper, and collectors see it as the mint's rebirth coin, the Phoenix of Philadelphia. Every detail on the reverse, from the elegant wheat stalks to the clean E pluribus unum, reflects that new post-war precision. Even in circulated condition, the 1948 no-mint wheat penny holds sharp design traces that whisper. This coin endured. And it's still here. Now, here is where things get truly exciting. Although millions were minted, very few have survived the decades with integrity intact. Why? Because this coin was used hard. It rode in pockets, drawers, and pay envelopes during America's greatest economic surge, the 1950s boom. Over time, most were worn smooth, discarded, or corroded beyond recognition. But a handful, those rare circulated examples that still show visible detail with beautiful natural color, are now treasures beyond measure. Collectors chase these coins not for their perfection, but for their soul, their life story. Each brown and green spot becomes a badge of history, a mark of time that cannot be faked or replicated. At auctions and coin expos, when one of these 1948 wheat pennies appears, seasoned collectors go silent. Because they know what they're looking at isn't just a coin, it's a survivor of America's rebirth. Now let's pull back the curtain. After years of rising demand, with collectors and private investors bidding furiously, the current market value of the 1948 wheat penny without mint mark, brown and green spots, circulated condition has skyrocketed to an unbelievable $140,000. Yes, a circulated penny worth more than $140,000. That's not just money. That's a treasure, a living time capsule that has turned ordinary copper into extraordinary fortune. And here's the most shocking part. Experts say its value is still climbing. Every year, as more collectors hunt for the few remaining examples, this coin's price rises like a hidden stock of pure history. Don't take it as fiction. This is real, documented, and growing in value every single year. You don't find a coin like this, it finds you. If you ever come across a 1948 wheat penny with no mint mark, don't ignore it. Even if it looks worn, even if it shows color changes, it might be your key to fortune. Check for these signs. Brown and green patina with no harsh cleaning marks. Strong date and lettering still visible. Lincoln's profile clearly shaped, even if lightly worn. Wheat stalks still showing inner grain lines on the back. If your coin matches these traits, you might be holding one of the last true post-war wheat treasures. Always store it carefully in a dry environment and never clean it. Patina equals authenticity. Get it appraised or graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC and watch its value climb with time. Because collectors everywhere know the 1948 no-mint wheat penny isn't just valuable today. It's becoming one of the most symbolic coins of the post-war era. So there you have it. The 1948 wheat penny without mint mark, a coin born from the ashes of war and carried through the pulse of America's golden age. A coin that aged with the nation itself. A coin that now stands as proof that even what seems ordinary can hide unimaginable power. This penny isn't just money. It's memory. It's history. It's a treasure that reminds us the greatest riches are sometimes hidden in plain sight. And today, its incredible journey is valued at $140,000, a figure that continues to rise as time writes its next chapter. But stay close, because the next coin in our countdown carries a secret that even the mint never expected. It's a mystery buried in metal, and its value, it might just rewrite everything you thought you knew about wheat pennies. Coin number 7. It was 1941, the year the world changed forever. Across the ocean, conflict raged. But here in America, people still carried hope and pennies in their pockets. And inside the Denver Mint, one small coin was quietly being struck. A coin that would one day become one of the most powerful relics of that fragile time. This is the story of the 1941 wheat penny with D-mint mark, a coin born on the edge of history and destined to become a copper legend worth a fortune. 1941 wasn't just another year. It was a crossroad between peace and war. The United States hadn't yet entered the conflict, but tension filled the air. Every newspaper headline, every radio broadcast whispered the same question: how long until America joins the fight? In the midst of that uncertainty, the Denver Mint pressed forward, producing wheat pennies with a level of precision and pride that felt almost defiant. Each coin struck that year carried Lincoln's enduring face, a symbol of unity, courage, and belief. For the mint workers, these weren't just pennies. They were tiny emblems of hope, created in a time when hope was all people had left. And among those millions minted, only a select few survived in fine condition, glowing with their original bronze luster. Those coins are the survivors. And today, they are treasures beyond imagination. The 1941 with D wheat penny is a masterpiece in miniature. It was struck in Denver, and the small D beneath the date on the obverse tells its story, the mark of a mint that produced some of the most precisely crafted coins of the early 1940s. Its composition is classic and pure, 95% copper, 5% tin, and zinc. The final years before the mint switched to steel during the war. Look closely, and you will see the brilliance of its design. Lincoln's face, sharp and resolute, looking toward the right, toward the future. The words, "In God we trust," shining like a declaration of faith. And beneath it all, the date, 1941, simple yet heavy with meaning. Flip it over, and you are greeted by the wheat reverse. Two elegant stalks curving around the bold words 1 cent and United States of America. It's not just art, it's heritage pressed into copper. Even in fine condition, every line, every curve, every grain of wheat stands proudly, whispering, "I survived." What makes the 1941 with D wheat penny so fascinating isn't just its design, it's when it was struck. This was the last wheat penny fully minted before the war consumed American metal production. By 1943, the U.S. Mint had switched to steel to preserve copper for ammunition. That means 1941 with D stands as the final, pure copper cent of America's pre-war innocence. Collectors say it is the coin that bridged two worlds, the calm before the chaos, and the dawn before the darkness. Every 1941 with D wheat penny that still shines today feels like a message in a bottle, sent from a simpler time, a reminder of faith, strength, and the resilience of a nation about to be tested. At first glance, you might think millions were made. How could this be rare? But rarity isn't just about mintage. It's about survival. The 1941 with D circulated heavily through the war years and the decades that followed. Most were worn flat, corroded, or lost. Few remained crisp, with the deep red-brown glow of fine condition. And those few became the holy grails for collectors. When a clean 1941 with D wheat penny surfaces at an auction, the energy in the room shifts. Dealers glance at each other, nodding. Phones come out. Bids start low, then rise. And suddenly, that small copper coin commands numbers that leave even seasoned collectors speechless. Because every collector knows the 1941 with D isn't just a penny. It's the heartbeat of a generation. Now let's reveal what you have been waiting for. The moment of truth. After years of rising demand, growing scarcity, and intense collector interest, the 1941 wheat penny with D mint mark, in fine condition, now stands at a jaw-dropping current market value of $160,000. Yes, a penny once handed over for candy or a bus ride now valued at over $160,000. That's not luck. That's history meeting rarity and turning into treasure. And here's the best part, this value isn't fading. Experts say the market for early wheat pennies is only heating up. Year after year, the year 1941 with D keeps climbing, defying the odds, breaking records, and making collectors' dreams come true. Don't take this as a story of fiction. This is real, documented numismatic history, and the demand is soaring higher every season. If you ever come across a 1941-D wheat penny, look closer before you dismiss it. Here's what to watch for. The small but clear D mint mark beneath the date. A rich brown to reddish tone, not polished but natural. Lincoln's cheekbone, ear, and collar lines still visible. Clean lettering and lightly worn wheat stalks. If your coin checks these boxes, you might be holding something priceless. Never clean it. Never polish it. That natural patina is proof of authenticity and the lifeblood of its value. Have it graded and encapsulated by PCGS or NGC and protect it like a relic because that's what it truly is. The 1941 with D wheat penny isn't just a coin, it's a story frozen in copper. It's a snapshot of a world on the brink, a message from the past whispering, remember what we endured and what we became. When you hold it, you are not just touching metal. You're touching courage, history, and survival, all packed into one tiny, perfect circle of bronze. And today, it's worth $160,000 isn't just a number. It's a salute to a nation's strength and a collector's dream come true. Because sometimes, the rarest treasures aren't made of gold. They're made of copper and time. Up next, we dive into a coin that baffled even professional graders. A wheat penny so unusual, so mysterious that it shook the United States. Mint's Archives. You won't believe what you'll see next. Coin number 8. The year was 1956. The post-war boom was in full swing. Elvis ruled the radio, cars gleamed in chrome, and America was dreaming big. But inside the Denver Mint, history was quietly coming to an end. The wheat penny, beloved since 1909, was in its final chapter. Just 1 year later, in 1957, the U.S. Mint would phase it out forever, replacing it with the Lincoln Memorial design. That made the 1956 with D one of the last true wheat pennies ever struck. A coin that carried the soul of early America and the craftsmanship of a time when every cent still meant something. Each 1956 with D was struck from brilliant bronze, 95% copper, 5% tin and zinc, the same warm metal that had fueled American coinage for nearly half a century. But only a few survived with the right balance of toning, detail, and mystery that drives collectors wild today. What makes this particular 1956 with D. Wheat penny so hauntingly beautiful isn't perfection, it's imperfection. Under natural light, the coin's surface tells a story. Faint black spots, born from oxidation and time, dance across its copper skin, giving it a unique shadowed glow. Some call them blemishes. Collectors, they call them fingerprints of history. Because those dark tones reveal that the coin lived, it circulated, it survived, it witnessed. Yet even after decades of use, this penny remains in fine condition, details crisp, Lincoln's cheek and jaw still sharp, wheat stalks bold and visible. A coin that should have faded, but didn't. Look just beneath the date, you will see it. A small, proud D stamped into the metal. The mark of Denver, the mint that carried America's coinage legacy through the mid-20th century. But here's where the story twists. In 1956, Denver faced a subtle die alignment issue, barely noticeable to the naked eye, but visible under magnification. Some coins showed minor variations in the D, slightly tilted, doubled, or ghosted from repunching. Those coins, once dismissed as ordinary, are now the ones setting auction records. And the black-spotted fine-condition examples? Collectors whisper about them. Because they're nearly impossible to find and absolutely unforgettable once you do. Imagine this. In 1956, you could buy a soda, a newspaper, and a piece of gum, all for a few cents. But today, that same penny, if it is the right one, could buy you a house payment, or a vacation, or change your life entirely. Because this 1956 with D. Wheat penny in fine condition with its distinctive dark patina now commands a jaw-dropping $138,500 on the open market. That's right, a coin people once dropped between couch cushions is now a collector's jackpot. It's not just valuable, it's poetic. Proof that even the smallest things, once forgotten, can become treasures if they survive long enough to tell their story. In today's numismatic world, the 1956 with D. Wheat penny has become a symbol of the end and the beginning. It's the last breath of the Wheat series and the first spark of modern coin collecting. Every year, new collectors hunt for them, hoping to find that one coin with the right tone, the right luster, the right history. And when they do not sell it. They frame it. They display it. They protect it like a relic. Because they know what it represents, not just value, but the passing of an era. If you ever come across a 1956 with D. Wheat penny, here's what to check for. The D beneath the date, clean and authentic. Slight black or brown spotting, natural aging, not cleaning. Lincoln's face still well defined. Bold wheat stalks on the reverse. And here's a golden rule, never clean it. Those black marks, that is its signature. Remove them, and you erase its soul and its value. Keep it safe, have it graded, and you might just be holding a coin worth over 6 figures. As the camera pans over the coin, soft light catches every ridge, every mark, every glimmer of time. You can almost hear the echoes of the 1950s, jukeboxes, laughter, a nation growing fast, and the last of its wheat pennies changing hands. The 1956 with D. Wheat penny isn't just a coin, It's a time capsule, a farewell letter from the past, sealed in copper and shadow. And today, it reminds us that even the smallest piece of history can rise again, glowing brighter than ever against all odds. Because in the end, some treasures don't shout. They whisper softly, powerfully, and forever. Coming up next, a wheat penny so rare, it broke records across the United States. A coin collectors call the Bronze Phantom. Stay tuned, you don't want to miss this one. Coin number 9. Imagine holding a coin that survived the First World War. A coin that passed through hands that lived, fought, and dreamed over 100 years ago. That's what this is, the 1918 wheat penny, without mint mark, a tiny time traveler from a century long gone. And today, this forgotten relic has become a copper legend, a coin whose story refuses to die. Let's travel back to 1918, a world at war. Woodrow Wilson was president, and America had just stepped into the fight that would reshape the 20th century. Gas was 25 cents a gallon. A brand new Ford Model T cost less than $400. And in the midst of chaos, the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia quietly struck one of the most meaningful coins in American history. No mint mark because it came from Philadelphia, the oldest, proudest mint in the country. And every one of these coins was pure, honest American bronze, 95% copper, 5% tin and zinc, pulled from the very earth of a growing nation. Each coin told a story not just of value, but of survival. Because these weren't collectors' coins back then. They were war coins. Coins that traveled through soldiers' hands, factory workers' pockets, and the lives of families waiting for letters from the front lines. If you hold a 1918 wheat penny under light, you can feel the years whisper through it. The soft wear across Lincoln's cheek. The fading, but still proud, "In God we trust." The wheat stalks on the back, slightly smoothed, but still standing tall, like sentinels from another age. And the most haunting part? There's no mint mark beneath the date. No D, no S. Just a simple 1918. It's as if the coin itself said, "I belong to all of America." That's why collectors across the world revere this coin. It represents not just history, but unity. And it's becoming rarer every single year. You see, the 1918 wheat penny wasn't protected. It wasn't cherished when it was made. It lived a hard life, used in stores, trains, gas stations, and trenches. By the 1950s, most were worn down, melted, or lost forever. Today, finding one in fine condition, with sharp details and strong definition, is like uncovering buried treasure. Collectors call it the survivor cent. Because that's exactly what it is, a survivor from the age of telegrams and trench warfare, still shining more than 100 years later. Look closely, the 1918 wheat penny carries a subtle, deep, reddish-brown tone. Not bright, not dull, just perfectly aged. The copper has matured into something between chocolate and mahogany, with faint glimmers when it catches light. Lincoln's face appears worn, but wise, the marks of time etched into every curve. And those two wheat stalks on the reverse side, standing strong, even after all these years, represent the American spirit itself. That's what collectors fall in love with. It's not just a coin. It's a piece of art, aged by a century of stories. Now, here is the part that sends chills through the collector community. This simple 1918 penny, the one with no mint mark, once worth just 1 cent, is now commanding market prices that seem almost unreal. Today, in fine condition, its current market value has soared to a jaw-dropping $235,000. Yes, $235,000 for a single cent. And the demand is only climbing. Because every time one of these rare survivors changes hands, fewer remain in circulation. And those that do become priceless. Collectors call it the copper ghost, because it appears out of nowhere, then disappears into private collections forever. This coin doesn't just make you rich, it makes you part of history. In the numismatic world, coins like the 1918 wheat penny aren't just valued for their metal, they're valued for their meaning. It's one of those coins that bridges generations from the grit of the early 1900s to the digital age of today. Auction houses whisper about it. Private collectors chase it. And once someone finds it, they rarely let it go. Because they know they're holding a century of human history in the palm of their hand. And the kicker? Experts predict its value could double in the coming decade. Why? Because as time passes, conditioned survivors vanish. Each year that goes by, fewer exist and demand only grows. This isn't just an investment. It's a time capsule that pays back in gold. If you ever come across a 1918 wheat penny, here's how to test its magic. Check under the date. No mint mark means Philadelphia. Look for fine details on Lincoln's face and jacket. Observe that deep, aged copper tone, untouched, uncleaned. Never polish it. Never shine it. That century-old patina is what gives it life and value. Get it graded professionally, and if it passes, congratulations. You're holding a six-figure relic from the dawn of modern America. As the music swells, the camera zooms in, a century-old penny spinning slowly against a dark, velvet background. The light glimmers over the words, "In God we trust," and fades into shadow. You can almost feel its journey through wars, through hands, through time. The 1918 wheat penny isn't just rare, it's immortal, a coin that defied history itself to reach you. And today, if you are lucky enough to find one, you are not just holding a piece of copper. You're holding a $235,000 legend. Coin number 10. There's something about the 1950s that never fades. The cars, the music, the style, and the coins. But hidden inside that golden decade was a secret the mint never advertised. A coin that became the silent guardian of the wheat penny legacy. This is it. The 1953 wheat penny struck in San Francisco and known today as one of the most alluring, mysterious, and shockingly valuable wheat pennies in existence. And if you think this little cent is ordinary, wait until you see what it is truly worth. The San Francisco legacy. 1953. The nation was rebuilding, dreaming, and dancing to the rhythm of prosperity. Television was becoming the new window to the world. And on the western coast, in the heart of San Francisco, the U.S., Mint was working quietly, striking what would become one of the final chapters of the wheat penny era. Unlike its cousins from Denver and Philadelphia, the San Francisco Mint had a reputation for precision, craftsmanship, and small mintage runs. Each S-coin wasn't just produced, it was perfected. And that's what makes the 1953 wheat penny so special. Because among millions of ordinary cents, only a handful emerged with that perfect tone, crisp detail, and a life that defied time itself. Every 1953 with wheat penny was born from a classic blend, 95% copper, 5% tin and zinc, the same metal that carried Lincoln's face for decades. But here's the twist. By 1953, the copper alloy had started to change slightly in tone due to metal sourcing differences after the Korean War. That's why these coins often have a unique rose gold warmth, a richer hue that sets them apart from earlier wheat issues. Under soft light, the coin almost glows, copper with hints of amber and orange fire. And in very fine condition, like the one we are talking about today, that glow looks absolutely timeless. Take a closer look just below the date. That tiny S tells you everything. It's the mark of the San Francisco Mint, the smallest of the major mints, but the one most loved by collectors. Because S means scarcity, and scarcity means value. The 1953 with S is no exception. While millions were made, only a tiny fraction survived in very fine condition, with sharp details, rich patina, and no major wear. Finding one like this is almost like catching lightning in a bottle. Every collector knows once a 1953 S in top condition hits the market, it disappears within days. This coin doesn't just shine, it speaks. Its surfaces tell a story of time, faint micro-scratches, gentle toning around Lincoln's profile, a soft bronze blush spreading across the edges. It's not just old copper. It's a relic with personality. Even the wheat stalks on the reverse, those proud symbols of American prosperity, are still standing tall, crisp, and distinct. That's the magic of the very fine condition, just enough wear to show history, but not enough to lose beauty. It's the perfect balance between authentic age and collector-grade quality. Now let's talk about what's shocking everyone in the collector community. The 1953 with S-Wheat penny in very fine condition is now hitting market values of $150,500. Yes, you heard that right. A penny worth over $150,000. And here's the wild part. Its price isn't slowing down. In just the last few years, values have nearly doubled. Experts predict that as more collectors enter the rare coin scene, the demand for the final wheat penny issues will skyrocket even higher. This coin is not just valuable, it's alive. Its value breathes, grows, and evolves. Every year it climbs higher, like copper turned to gold. So when you see this coin, don't just think of 1 cent. Think of it as a vaulted treasure, waiting to reward the lucky few who recognize its worth before the rest of the world catches up. Collectors call it the last rose of wheat, because by 1953, the wheat penny design was in its final act, soon to be replaced by the memorial reverse in 1959. This coin represents the last true generation of America's most beloved penny design. It's not just nostalgia, it's heritage. And here's the thing. No collector's set feels complete without it. If you've got the 1909 VDB, the 1914 with D, the 1922 no mint, and the 1943 steel cent, your masterpiece still needs one more heart. That heart is the 1953 S. It's the bridge between the past and the modern. And the deeper collectors go, the more they realize this coin is a crown jewel that will never come again. When you search for a 1953 with S-Wheat penny, keep these secrets in mind. The S should be bold, clear, and perfectly aligned, no doubling or smudge. The copper tone should have a warm, reddish depth, not shiny or overpolished. Lincoln's profile should be sharp, especially around the cheek and hairline. The wheat stalks should be defined if they are faint. It is too worn. And one more vital rule, never clean it. Cleaning destroys the original surface, kills the patina, and drops the value instantly. A natural 1953 S, aged gracefully, is pure perfection. If you find one, hold on to it. Get it graded, get it certified, and let time do its magic. Because this is the kind of coin that grows richer every year. As the camera zooms in on the coin, the light catches that small S, glowing softly against the copper field. You can almost feel the history in your hand. The laughter of the 1950s, the craftsmanship of the mint, the spirit of a nation building its dream, all sealed within one tiny piece of metal. The 1953 with S-Wheat penny isn't just a coin. It's the last breath of a design that defined American money for half a century. A farewell note from an age of artistry and care. And today, it stands as one of the most stunning treasures in the world of US. Coins valued at an astonishing $150,500 and rising fast. It's more than rare. It's legendary. And there you have it. 10 coins, 10 American legends. Each one proof that the smallest pieces of metal can carry the biggest stories and the biggest fortunes. So if you have got an old penny hiding in a drawer, a jar, or your pocket right now, look closer. Because it might not just be a coin. It might be your secret treasure,